All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to Life Clinic podcasts. And I am so excited to be here. Uh, and I believe we are also excited to be here for those of us that we are live. And for those that will also be listening to this live production after now. Okay. So I have my guest already in the studio. But before I bring him in, I have an introduction that I want to play for him. Let me use a video to introduce my guest.
Meet Sijuade Adeyeye, a dedicated leader and educator deeply committed to youth development and leadership. Holding a master's degree in communication physics and currently working at the Center for Continuing Education, Federal University of Technology, Akure, Sijuade is the founder and CEO of the Organized Youths and Leadership Development Network, TOLDNetwork. Through TOLDNetwork, he passionately cultivates exceptional leaders, envisioning a global impact in leadership development. As the convener of TOLD Leadership Boot Camp, Governance and Leadership Summit, GLS, and Election Town Hall interactive meetings, Sijuade is a driving force for positive change. Married and blessed with a daughter, his unwavering dedication extends to empowering the upcoming generation of leaders, making him a beacon in the realm of personal leadership. Join Sijuade as he shares insights on navigating through personal leadership.
All right. Mr. Sijuade, thank you so much for joining us today at Life Clinic. I hope you can hear me.
Yes, I can hear you, and I hope you can hear me too.
Yes, I can hear you. I can hear you loud and clear. So thank you so much for joining us today. I believe it's going to be a wonderful interaction together. Mr. Sijuade Adeyeye is the founder of TOLDNetwork. But let me allow him to introduce himself better.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Ige, for inviting me. The voiceover artist has done my introduction for me. The only thing he didn't do well was to call my name. I was surprised the way he was pronouncing my name. So anyway, my name is Sijuade Adeyeye, and I am privileged to be the founder of TOLDNetwork. TOLDNetwork is an organization that is committed to raising excellent leaders, that is committed to building the nation. So we work actively with the youth, and what we do is to orientate them about leadership, teach them about leadership, and then eventually they can rise up to take responsibility in their community, in their society, and in the nation at large. Thank you so much once again for having me, Mr. Ige.
All right. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. I really appreciate your presence here. And I believe our discussion today is really going to help a lot of people across all different areas of life. Mr. Shido, the first question I want to ask, TOLDNetwork itself is an organization that trains leaders. Define leadership. Leadership. How would you define leadership?
All right, how I would define leadership. Thank you so much. I heard that clearly. All right, leadership is simply taking responsibility. All right, there are many definitions from different authors and different leadership experts. For instance, John Maxwell says that leadership is all about influence, nothing more, nothing less. And I totally agree with that definition. A leader influences. So when you are talking about leadership, you are talking about ability to influence people to make informed decisions, ability to influence people in order to achieve certain goals. All right. But I love to define leadership as simply taking responsibility. Leadership is taking responsibility. All right. And then ability to influence people, to inspire people to achieve a worthwhile goal.
Down to the discussion for today, sir. What is personal leadership? So I want to ask you, sir, what is personal leadership and important to individuals across all areas of life?
All right. Lovely question. Thank you so much. There's leadership. Just like when you first of all asked me that, what do I understand by leadership? And I mentioned that leadership is taking responsibility and, most importantly, influencing people to achieve a worthwhile goal. All right. Then personal leadership and guiding yourself to achieve your vision or what is called a worthwhile goal. So one comes first. If a man does not have the ability to influence himself personally, such a person will find it difficult to influence people externally. All right. So when the first thing is considered first, when you are able to take care of the first thing, which is ability to lead yourself, personal leadership, then you have the pedestal, you have the template, you have the freedom and the ability to be able to lead others. It was said in the Bible that the blind cannot lead the blind. So first of all, I must have secured sight for myself. I must have been able to identify myself. I must have been able to discover who I am, that is self-awareness now. I must be able to understand my identity. I must be able to understand my vision, what I want to achieve. All right. Now, when all these ones are established, leading on a large scale, leading on a massive scale, or even leading people becomes easy and it becomes effortless because you now have a reason to bring people on board your leadership because you have been able to lead yourself appropriately. All right. So let me pause it here.
And you said something particularly about self-awareness. I was talking some days ago about the African curriculum of leadership. Myself, I pastored teenagers, and I chose some of them as leaders, over the other teenagers. And so after I, chose few of them, I now said, one of them now said to me, thank God, though, that she will no longer be arranging chairs in the church again, and that she's not a leader, all right, because she felt that the concept of leadership is now, she's now the boss kind of, leadership. So I really want you to balance. I really want you to talk about the African ideology of leader, all right, or leadership. Now, for example, if you go to our secondary schools, the senior prefects are the jagabans, all right? They are, oh, hey, you go and do this, hey, you go and do this. We want to talk about really help our ideology of leadership in Nigeria and in Africa generally.
Interesting question. Thank you so much. Actually, the general leadership ideology in Africa and even in parts of our world today, which is Nigeria, is about lording it over. People think that leadership is lording it over. That is being the overall, having preeminence. There's a scripture in the book of 3rd John. 3 people were mentioned in that book. One of them is Gaius. One of them is Diotrephes. And I have forgotten, I can't remember the third name now. Diotrephes, Gaius, and the other person. Now, something was mentioned about the other guy. Something was mentioned about Gaius, that this guy, he loves to serve, he receives people, and the likes. But there's this other one, I think Demetrius or Diotrephes, one of them. Something was mentioned about him that he loves to take preeminence. That is, he loves to be at the center stage. He loves to be honored. He loves to be revered. And some of these characters or characteristics have even entered the church. That even the leaders of many leaders of churches today, they don't see leadership as service. And when Jesus Christ came, he said, I am in the midst of you as one that serves. The two disciples came to him and said, they asked him a question. I said, who shall be the leader among us. And then Jesus Christ said, he that will be the greatest among you must be the servant of all. So Jesus Christ gave us the template of leadership, that is ability to serve. And when I was giving the definition of leadership, I said leadership is taking responsibility. That means when something is supposed to be put in place, you put off your ego, you put off the garment of your pride, and ensure that this thing is attended to. For instance, maybe you are walking in your compound and then you see some nylon flying over, you see some refuse flying around. You may begin to tell yourself that I am too big to pick. But a servant leader will bend down, pick those nylons, pick those papers, and trash them in the trash can. Then afterwards, he or she can wash his hands. But it has not reduced him in any way. It has not diminished him in any way. It has not ridiculed him in any way. It has not dishonored him in any way, because you have only responded to a problem that is on ground. So in our part of the world today, people aspire to become leader because they want to oppress. People aspire to become leader because they want to embezzle money. They want to be part of the largesse that people are enjoying. Because there are two things in leadership: the responsibility and the rights, or the privileges and responsibility. When you come to the position of leadership, there are certain privileges and there are certain responsibilities. Unfortunately, in our nation, Nigeria today, many people, especially our politicians, even not only politicians, come even to the body of Christ today. Many people aspire to become a leader today because of the privileges that are attached to leadership, and not because of the responsibilities, not because of the service to render in that place. So someone wants to become a bishop because you know that when you become a bishop, you will have you'll be entitled to a jeep, you'll be entitled to housing, and many other things that people dream and anticipate for in leadership. But a correct leader will exonerate service. He will exonerate the responsibility to respond to. Look at Jesus Christ, what he did. Jesus Christ didn't come to the world to enjoy. He came to serve. He came to solve problems. And that should be the mindset we carry as a leader, that wherever you find yourself, the intention of you wanting to lead should be because you want to serve and you want to solve problems.
That's really, really beautiful. Leadership is a platform to serve, a platform to, a platform to do things, not just because of the privilege or the privileges that that platform will give to you. And that's even when we start talking about positional leadership. In these days of technology, in these days of contents, a lot of people, I said something about Chinese proverb the other time. A lot of people validate their leadership success based on the numbers of followers they have. Can we generalize, or can we say that the success of...
If I can get the question right, you are trying to say that can we measure the success of a leader by the number of followers he or she has? Is that it?
Yes, very correct. That's it. Can we measure the success of a leader by the number of his or her followers?
Okay, that's interesting. That is interesting. Very, very interesting question. Do you know that there are many people, especially on social media today? Let's say go to TikTok or go to YouTube. YouTube is still sane. Go to Instagram, for instance, and then you see some ladies. They have hundreds of thousands of followers. What are they doing? Some of them know how to expose their body, or some of them know how to post their half-naked pictures. And you know, people love to see things like this. Now, are we going to call that one a leadership success? What value is that picture adding to his followers, his or her followers? So that is why we cannot measure the success of any leader by the numbers of the followers he has. Actually, there's a role numbers play in leadership. If you're actually doing genuine thing, if you're actually dishing out genuine content that people need, it can also draw traction. So we can't discard followers, absolutely. But at the same time, we can't measure absolutely the success of any leader by the number of followers he has. Many people have followers and they are not being influenced by the values they carry. I'm talking about positive values now. So you see someone now, I don't want to mention name now, but there are some people who just talk rubbish online and they have followers. There are some people who just they just do some skits and they have followers. Yes, they are leaders in their own respect, but they are not the kind of leaders that can bring transformational leadership that we are anticipating for. All right. So you see many people today on internet, whether musicians, whether and you know, interestingly, we celebrate people today because of the number of followership they have. But the question is that what kind of content are they producing? What kind of values are they injecting into our generation? I feel like mentioning names of some musicians that they sing rubbish. Their lyrics is full of vulgarism, full of all kinds of things that are uncalled for, and they still have followers. In fact, our nation still celebrates them. In fact, they have misled a lot of young people. Many people are addicted into drugs today. Many people are alcoholics today. Many people have gone into all kinds of gangsterism and occultism because someone they are following on social media project all these things. So it is difficult to measure the success of a leader by the numbers of the followers he has. Interestingly, a good follower, even though if it is someone you are influencing positively, you are a leader. And with your consistency, with time, and with your effort, you begin to draw traction and begin to draw large followership. When you see someone like Dr. Sijuade Adeyeye now, these people have large followership. See someone like John Maxwell, they have large followership. And different kind of thought leaders we have in the nation today, they have large followership. Someone like Apostle Joshua Selman, they have large followership because they are. Everybody has his own sphere. Everybody has his own area of calling. Your kind of leadership may not be the type that will draw crowds. For instance, now, who is a primary school teacher? At his own corner, is influencing. At his own corner, is building and culturing people, if he understands it. So if such a person does not have 1 million followers online, are we going to say that such a person has failed in leadership? So there are two things. We can't absolutely measure the success of any leader by the number of followers he or she has. Thank you.
All right. Yeah, thank you so much, sir. I mean, that will really settle so many things, especially among young ones, people that are really thriving to drop or make an impact in this generation. You know, I read a quote about Mother Teresa. She said, we ourselves know that our contribution, is a little drop in the ocean, but the ocean itself will never remain the same without our contribution. All right, that we understand that the measure of our success is not as a result of the number of followers that we have, but and sir, I want to really ask
Now, if leadership is not measured by the number of followers, then what is it measured by? How do you, I mean, I know I'm a little bit going away from the discussion for today, which is personal leadership, but you know, with what you are really throwing in, it really makes me to really want to understand that how do a leader, all right, measure that, oh, maybe I'm successful or I'm working towards success in leadership.
Another interesting question that I love so much. Thank you so much for this question. You know, there are different metrics for measuring the success of a leader. One, it depends on the area of your calling, what you have been called to achieve, what your passion, what your vision is. First of all, there is no leadership without a vision. A leader has a vision, and that is why he has people to come along to come and fulfill that vision with himself or herself. So first of all, a leader measures his success based on the vision he has. For instance, if you have been called, your vision, okay, let's take Joshua as an example. Joshua was called in the Bible and he was given a specific vision, that is, was given a task. And your task is to take possessions of lands, is to lead people into the promised land. And as we are going to that promised land, there are giants in that promised land. There are nations that you need to dislodge. So God gave him the scope and the direction of his leadership. At a time, he thought he has finished. But God came to him. See, you are growing old though, and there still remains much land to be possessed. So he told him, you have left this place, going down to the river Euphrates, you have not conquered that land. There is still another nation that is still occupying that land, and you have not dislodged those people. You have not taken over the territory. So at that point, yes, you are succeeding, but you have not finished. All right. So you measure your leadership vis-a-vis your calling, vis-a-vis your vision, and what you have been given to achieve. All right. Then you look at there are some leadership adventure that they are not tangible in measuring. That is, you can see, for instance, now let's say, what example can I give now of a tangible example of leadership where you can actually measure your leadership? Maybe, for instance, now you are given a task. Okay, you are a bank manager and you have been given a task. Okay, so month you must bring a return of 300 million naira or a return of 1 billion naira. Now, at that, you can measure your success by the amount of return you bring into the system. All right. But there are some leadership that are not tangibly measurable. They are only measurable with time. When you begin to see the behavior of people collectively changing, when you begin to see the values you are injecting people, forming a culture in people, at that time you can say you are succeeding. I hope you are getting what I'm trying to paint now.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So basically, you measure your leadership vis-a-vis the template of the vision you have been given. You don't measure your leadership by the amount, not even by the amount of the followers you have, just like you have said. What is being transformed in those followers? Because people can just be pressing like. You can just be pressing. It will interest you that if you post a content, someone might not even read it. Maybe you just saw the picture, say, okay, let me just like this picture. But what you have posted and you have taken time to meditate and constructed and you posted it, someone might not even read it. So you cannot measure the impact of that post by the amount of likes you have. Let me say something. There was a time I was in a meeting, and as I was entering the meeting, that is the speaker came from the UK to come and speak at that event. And this leader really, this speaker really likes my post on Facebook. In fact, I can't remember the last time he clicked like or he commented on any of my posts. But as I stepped into that hall, that conference room that day, he said, please, let us put our hands together for this man that is coming. He said, your post always bless me. Each time I read your post, I'm always blessed by your post. And even added something. He said, sometimes, even if he has not seen me post anything, he will go to my wall to check if I have posted something new that day. Do you know that I have a different perspective of a metric of measuring your level of impact? All right. So some are not tangible. Some are tangible because you are trying to have an influence in the life of others. Some will acknowledge it, while some may not. Let me pause it there.
Thank you so much, sir. That's really that's really a blessing. You know, I heard Dr. Miles Muro said something about leadership. He said, and I know he was streamlining it to the concept of personal leadership. He said, your first responsibility as a leader is to lead yourself, is to lead your talents, is to lead your gifts. All right. So say, what's the point of you leading people when you've not properly or when you've not efficiently, you don't know how to lead yourself. You don't even know how to lead your finance. And I think that's what we have in the government of today, right? Where somebody does not or cannot manage his or finance, wants to manage the finance of an entire local government, an entire state, and the country at large. All right. So now you said something the other time prior to this last conversation you talked about self-awareness and self-discovery. Now, what is the point of self-awareness? And especially, I want you to look at it from the window of Christianity. All right, because sometimes, especially to the extreme end of Christianity, it's like anything self, kill it. But you must just look unto Jesus and anything other. So, but what is the point, or what is the impact or the effect of discovering yourself and being an efficient leader or a good leader?
Beautiful question there. Thank you so much. Some years ago, I had a story of a baby lion that was caught and it was placed among sheep. All right. And at that point, he started behaving like sheep, started behaving like them. They will go to the river to drink water, and then the baby lion was also doing like the sheep. So a time came, a big lion came on the other side of the river and roared. All the sheep took to their heel, including the baby lion or the sheep lion. But a time came when he was drinking water in the river. He was drinking water. So when they got to the river, he saw his picture in that river. That what I'm seeing in the river looks like this big man, this big animal that always roar and scare everyone away. So when he noticed that they share similar picture, they share similar image, the next time they went for watering, the big lion roar, he came again and roared. All the sheep took to their heels, but the baby lion stayed. And the baby lion and the big lion and the mother lion, they met together and they wagged their tails together and they went into the forest. Now, this is the power of self-awareness. This is the strength of identity. The way you put that question, I love it so much, because that is one of the problems we have in Christendom, where you say, kill everything self. There's something called self that must be killed. Everything that makes you think that you are more than who you are. Anything that puts you first before the agenda of God, it is called self. But if you discover yourself and that self is subjected to the purpose of God, to the will of God, to the promises of God, and to the call of God on your life, that is not what is called self. But the self-awareness is that it gives you strength. Self-awareness gives you strength. You understand who you are, you understand your strength, you understand your values, you understand your power, you understand your talents, you understand your vision. So self-awareness is all encompassing. Self-awareness is all encompassing. And when you don't understand yourself, now it was Jesus Christ that said, "You are the light of the world." He said, "A city that is set on a hill that cannot be hid." What is he trying to say? Is this is what I have made you. If someone is now trying to hide in humility and say, "Ha, my light is small. I don't even know who I am. I don't have any light." Oh. At that point in time, you are even committing an offense. That is a sin. God is saying you are the light of the world, you are the salt of the earth, and you are trying to diminish yourself. All right. What else did he say? He called us a lion. He said, the lion of the tribe of Judah. That is what he called himself. And if we are the children of God, that simply means that we are also lion. And we must behave and have the trait of a lion. Remember when he met Gideon? What did he tell Gideon? You are a mighty man of valor. Why Gideon was still looking down on himself and say, "Who am I? My family is the least. I have nobody." But there was a self-awareness that people must have. It gives you strength, it gives you energy, and it strengthens your vision. When Jesus Christ appeared, everybody knew he appeared. At age 12, he was already working in the consciousness of his mission. He understood his mission, he understood himself. He knew where to find himself. All right. He was not playing on the pitch. Not that playing on the pitch is bad, but he just knew that this cannot help my destiny. So, he began to see himself, among the midst of scholars, among the midst of scribes, the midst of Pharisees, because his assignment is connected to what these people are sharing in this synagogue. So self-awareness is not a sin. Self-concept is not a sin. Understanding who you are is not a sin. In fact, that is where to start from in leadership. If you don't understand who you are, you don't understand your identity, if you don't understand your strength, you don't understand your talent, it will be difficult for you to lead others. One, inferiority complex will set in because you think that you are not sufficient. And let me also add is that one of the problems we face in our generation, especially in the church, is that people think that they are not enough. People think that they are not adequate.
True.
People think that they are deficient. And the Bible says that he that has, more shall be given. But he that has not, that which he has shall be taken away from him. In other words, what he's trying to say is that when you fail to recognize what you have, when you fail to recognize who you are, you will be disadvantaged. People who understood themselves, or people who understand themselves, people who understand their vision, they will take advantage of you because you don't know where you are going, you don't know who you are. And then you can't be productive with the talent. Start from understand who you are and have this self-concept and self-awareness of yourself. Let me pause it.
Thank you so much, sir. Well, thank you so much. And I really enjoyed this, this last scripture you used. The day I got that revelation of, that, because I began to ask myself that the person that does not have that which he has will be taken away. I was wondering, and I just understood that it's because that he has something, but he has not found out. Start taking the time to discover what he has, because every one of us, God specially designed us with something. And that's why Dr. Mann said that that the first thing you should lead is yourself, is your talents and your gifts, because we all, but the person that does not know his or her gifts, does not know his or her talent, how will he be able to lead? Thank you so much for that. I really want us to jump into one or two things about the concept of goal setting. I was listening to somebody sometimes ago, and what he said made a bit of sense, but I really did not agree with it totally. But concerning goal setting, that person said that he doesn't set goals. He said because goals limit you. For example, you say, like the bank illustration you used the other time, you said, okay, at the end of 5 months or at the end of a month, okay, let's just use, we are talking about personal leadership. So let's say at the end of a month, I said I will read 3 books. And this person was saying that, okay, if you say you are going to read 3 books in a week or in a day, in a week or in a month, that is going to limit you. That because you can, if, for example, you are capable of reading, 5, 7 books, and you say you are going to read 2, 3 books, that's, but I want to really talk about the concept of goal setting. How does it affect, or what is its impact to personal leadership?
All right, thank you so much. As we are talking, I'll just say that, okay, maybe if the person has the capacity to read 7 books, then set the goal of 7 books and read it. But one of the things in setting goals is that your goal must be achievable. It must be measurable. It must be specific. So in the concept of setting goals, for instance, people need to understand something that goal is a means to an end. For instance, someone who wants to reduce in size, or how do you put it now? Someone who wants to lose some kg. Maybe you are too big, you are too fat, and you just feel that I need to reduce my size. Now, that is not a goal. You understand? Your goal are the thing that you do that brings you to that thing that you have set. That's another concept of goal. Are you getting me now? We can still call it a goal, but the real actual goal is the step-by-step, daily and consistent measure you put in place in order to achieve that dream that you have set. Let's say, for instance, someone who wants to reduce in some kg now. You will set goal for exercise, for instance, that every day I am so as you are fulfilling those goals of those things that you have set, you begin to find yourself that you're on your journey to fulfilling that dream that you have set. I don't know if you are getting me now.
Yes.
All right. Someone who wants to improve on his mathematics, for instance, you can just set a goal. I say by next year, I want to move from 3rd class to 2nd class lower. That is a goal, right?
Yeah.
But it has not become a goal until you have set some certain activities in place. For instance, every day I will read so number of pages of my physics textbook. Those are measurable and actionable goals. So that's the concept of goal. Goal is not just because many people set goals. What you call goals? Many people say, I want to become this. I want to become that. And they have not really taken time to give themselves, what does it take for me to achieve this thing I have set ahead? So that is the concept of a goal that I understand for now.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that. And that's really true and correct. There's something called SMART goals. I have shared it before. I think maybe on my Facebook page. Maybe I'll share it on YouTube here about setting SMART goals. That your goal must be specific. All right. Your goal must be measurable. Your goals must be achievable or attainable. Your goal must be relevant. Must be relevant to you. Must be relevant to what you want to do at a particular time. It must be relevant to your bigger vision in life, and your goals must be time bound. All right, because when your goals are, when you have SMART goals, it gives you a sense of urgency. It gives you a sense of there is a time lapse for this particular thing. And of course, if you are unable to achieve it at this, there is this particular axiom. I don't know, maybe our audience must have heard it before, that if you aim the sun, you may hit the star. All right. If you aim the sun, you may hit the star. That if your goal is, okay, I will do this particular thing, right? Even if you're unable to achieve that, that big goal that you have, but your ability to, because you aim that high, you will achieve something close to high, right? So, but Mr. Shidu, just to round up this session, I want to really talk about, because these days, and especially for youth, for young people, time is a lot. A lot of things are taking our time. A lot of things are contending for our time. Work, for some of us that we are working, school, spirituality, prayers, church, and many, many other things, even the sense, and it's most especially even money, the idea that I need to work and live in other aspects of our lives and the like. So I want you to really talk about how do we manage time, and how do we measure productivity? Because we know that it is one thing for you to be working, it is another thing for you to be productive. It is one thing for you to be doing, you are really dispelling energy into something. But yet, when you look at the result you are bringing out, you just discover that this thing is not yielding what you're expecting. So I want you to talk about how do we manage time, being a leader, and how do we measure when we look at our schedule, our daily schedule, our weekly schedule, our monthly schedule. How do we measure that, oh, this month I'm more productive than last month?
All right, thank you so much. Very, very beautiful and interesting question. How do I manage time? Number one thing is priority. We must set our priorities right. What do I hold in high esteem in my life? What is it that I must be doing now to contribute to the overall goal or vision of my life? Jesus Christ said something. He said, I must work the works of him that sent me while it is day. So there's a concept of work, assignment, responsibility, which Jesus Christ preferred more than any other thing. He said, I must work the works of him that sent me while it is day. The concept of day signifies time. So while it is day, he said the night comes when no man can work.
Mm-hmm.
So Jesus Christ understood that no matter how anointed he was at that point in time, he was even the most anointed man on earth.
Sure.
As long as time has caught up with him and he has not been able to accomplish what he wanted or what he aims to achieve, at that point in time, time has been wasted. All right. So the one thing is priority. And you mentioned something that we're in a generation that we are mostly distracted. We have a lot of applications, a lot of softwares, a lot of games, a lot of social media influencers, a lot of social media apps, Instagram, TikTok, WhatsApp, what have you, Facebook. And when you are tired on Facebook, you move to Instagram.
Yeah.
When you're tired of Instagram, you move to TikTok. And then when everything tires you, I mean that English. When you're not tired of everything, you say, let me play some games. All right? Let me play some games. So a lot of things are taking our time and they are not adding up to our overall goal in life. So first of all, when a man knows where he's going, you know what you intend to achieve. Every other thing you spend your time on is more prioritized and channeled towards that your highest priority. All right. Are you getting? And I read an article some time ago. The person said that the last generation are not so distracted as we are. And even yet, they were still more disciplined than us. He now said it will take double of the discipline they had in their own generation for us to succeed and achieve our worthwhile goal or dream or vision in this present generation. So one of the ways to manage our time is through discipline. You stick to what you know you ought to be doing. If you know that spending hours on Facebook, on WhatsApp, is not adding anything, it's not making you to be productive, it's not adding anything to your vision, then close it and begin to do things that adds value to your assignment, to your call, and to the responsibility you have assigned yourself to, or you have been assigned to. Are you getting what I'm saying now? So with that, it is easily measurable. We know those things we do that do not have relevance with our ultimate goal in life. We know those things we do.
True.
So first of all, we must realize them, we must be aware of them, and then we must be deliberate. You don't deceive yourself. If you know that your assignment requires you to be praying 1 hour every day, you discipline yourself to ensure that that 1 hour is complete. If your assignment requires that you be fasting every day, you discipline yourself to ensure that you commit yourself to that goal that will make your life better. So to me, that's how to measure productivity. Are the activities I'm doing, are they aligned with my ultimate goal, with my ultimate vision? Jesus Christ said, I must work the works of him. So Jesus Christ understood those works that will bring about him saving humanity. So he was giving himself to those activities. He gave himself to those activities. And so we must have our parchments. And that's one of the places to start from. Write on your parchment, write the list of things you should be doing that will take you to your ultimate productivity, that will engender productivity. Then have another list of those things that you are doing that are not relevant, that do not add any value to your ultimate productivity. Then also take stock of your life. Maybe in the last 1 year, what have I achieved? In the last 6 months, what are the major activities in my life? Because someone can be busy and may not be productive. You may be busy doing and helping other people, and at the end of the day, one of the things is this: it's good to help others, it's good to serve others. But personal leadership also knows where to draw the line.
True.
It knows where to dwell on this personal assignment, personal investment, because personal leadership talks about investing in yourself. If you don't invest in yourself, you'll not be able to serve others appropriately.
True.
So productivity comes from planting. Productivity comes from investment. So when we are talking about measuring your productivity, you must be conversant with your investment. What am I investing my time into? What am I investing my life into? What am I investing my relationship into? So when you are able to define specifically what your investments are, what your planting are, then your productivity will be automatically defined, because it is what you are doing now that will bring us to where we need to be tomorrow. Our productivity is a direct proportion of our investment today. So you measure your productivity, first of all, based on your level of investment in yourself and in that your vision that God has given you.
All right. Okay. All right. Thank you. Yeah. So thank you, sir. Thank you very much, sir. We are really coming to the end of this particular discussion. Thank you so much. It has really been a wonderful session, and especially for this last
segment, last discussion, you mentioned about writing in your parchments, writing, recently I spoke about journaling. I will definitely ensure that I cut this session out and make sure a lot of people really get this, because if we take inventory of our lives, then we will be able to particularly identify what we need to jettison, what we really need to work on. We've really come to the end of this session, and I personally have been blessed. I've learned one or two things. I will definitely go back to this video and watch it. And I believe those that are joining us online will do the same. All right. If you just joined, you need to just rewind. All right. And ensure you follow through. The questions, the discussion has really been a very interesting one. And if you are watching this later, make sure you watch it. And more importantly, make sure you ask questions, comments. What is your own idea? What is your own perspective about personal leadership? Do you think it is important? Do you think we should just forget about it? And what's your view about, so I was thinking about something recently before I asked my last question. I remember this song. It was even this morning I was thinking about it, that this song that parents listening to your children, is that the way they sang it? We are the leaders of tomorrow. Yeah. So there are some children comedians that were singing the song recently in one of their skits, and they were singing the song, and the other person just came and said, forget about it. They've been singing this song. I remember I personally, when I was in primary school, I also sang that song. And they said it is still the same set of people that are ruling, that are still ruling. And the idea just came to my mind that, okay, yeah, that may be true, but if you understand that the leaders of tomorrow, it is still you, irrespective whether it is the president that is the president, because there will not be, we will not have that tomorrow if you don't actively act as a leader. That tomorrow you envisage, because you are still the leader of your whole life, right? You are still the one that will still determine what successes you will achieve and what failures you will accommodate, right? So I was just looking at that and I said, oh, we really need to look at the concept of personal leadership. And sir, this last question, I just thought about it when I was, gathering this discussion on personal leadership. And I said, oh, this 3 question is going to be a question I'm going to be asking every of my guests. All right. I've been having, conversations like this, but I've never asked any of my questions, this particular 3 questions. So I'll be asking you 3 questions lastly, as we are going to end this particular production. And the first question is, what advice would you give to your younger self? If you meet your 7-year-old, if there was one miracle that you are to advise your 7-year-old self, what advice? Let's make it one very important advice that you would tell your younger self, you should do this. Yes, sir.
All right. I will tell my younger self, invest more in yourself. Because you cannot give what you don't have. Understand? So whatever the investment means, personal development, meditation, reading books, praying, studying, and interacting with people.
Once again, our guest is Mr. Sijuade Adeyeye, the founder of TOLDNetwork. And we've really had a wonderful session with him thus far. And we are just getting to the last 3 questions. Last 3 questions we ask our guest. Last 3 questions. And I hope he's going to join us soon before we tidy things up. Okay? So I hope you've been enjoying this session. This is going to be, I believe this is an interesting conversation about personal leadership. I personally have learned 1 or 2 things. I believe you also have learned 1 or 2 things. I want you to comment, because there's going to be something like a raffle draw in our next conversation. All right. So you want to comment, and there's going to be gifts, right? And who knows, there's going to be giveaway. So thank you so much. We got the answer to the first question, which is that you will tell yourself, your younger self, to invest more in yourself. Okay. So the second question is this, that what book or film or podcast or what resource generally would you give to anyone who is seeking growth or is seeking for growth, is seeking for to improve him or herself, whether in leadership, let's make it leadership, or in different aspects of his or her life.
All right, books. I once read a book. It's called 12 Disciplines of Leadership Excellence. 12 Disciplines of Leadership Excellence by Brian Tracy and then Peter Lee, Dr. Peter Lee. I read that book and it changed my perspective about leadership. All right. And so I can recommend that book and many other books on leadership. Then movies, I'm not the movie type, but any movie I have opportunity to watch, I know they are trying to pass a particular message. And even the message they are not passing, there's a way I derive messages and values from any movie that I watch. Recently, I started watching some movies, and then, when they make certain statements or there's a certain action that happened in that movie, I will cut it out and I will bring something out of it. So because movies are just interaction of people. So when you see an outstanding interaction, when you see an outstanding social interaction between people, you can draw something of value from it. So I cannot say go and watch a particular movie. Then podcasts. First of all, I will recommend Life Cleaning podcasts to anyone who is willing to grow and develop. I will recommend that greatly. And we also have people like Sam Adeyeye on leadership, even on life generally. Fantastic. We have leaders in our nation today. Our church leaders, they are doing fantastically well. I am under a servant of God in my church. I can also recommend my pastor, teacher, that go and listen to this person because I know the value that I draw from that person. And many people that have contributed to my life. I can begin to mention names here and there. Pastor Siyo Osoyembi and the likes, many. Pastor Monday and the likes. So, but in the popular scene, the popular stage, we have people like Maxwell, Miles Monroe's materials are there, and many more.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much for that. And lastly, as we round up this session, if there was anybody you would love to speak with, whether dead or alive, anyways, either dead or alive, who will it be, and what would be the question you would love to ask them? If there was anybody you would love to speak with, whether dead or alive, who will that person be, and what question would you love to ask that person?
All right. Let me talk about someone whose work is recognized and written. And he said he served his generation. And David served his generation. So I would love to see David and ask him, say, how did you serve your generation effectively? Come and teach us. There's something you knew. Though we can see them in the pages of the scriptures. But they can also tell us personally what you have learned. All right? People living, there are a lot of people. There are plenty, but there are many. But I would not want to mention any name now. And then, but just like I said, David, I will ask him, how did you serve your generation? And how did you do it that you became a servant, a man after God's heart? That God can attest of that this is my servant David. And then he himself was after God. He was after God's heart. So a man after God's heart. So in two ways, God approves of him, and he too was pushing towards God. So it will be David. If there's anyone, to be David.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Sijuade Adeyeye. Mr. Sijuade Adeyeye is the founder of TOLDNetwork. I believe it's you can
learn more about TOLDNetwork, or I will just ask Mr. Sijuade to talk a bit about TOLDNetwork. Um, TOLDNetwork, then you can also give the website so that people who want to learn more about TOLDNetwork can also visit the website to learn more about TOLDNetwork, sir. Did you hear my question?
Yes, yes. All right, TOLDNetwork is an acronym for the Organized Youth and Leadership Development. So the initiative is to raise a network of excellent and great leaders who will be committed to building the nation. Everybody has a role to play in building the nation. So TOLDNetwork is just to raise leaders, pump into them values, and then make them responsible to begin to do what they ought to do at their corners. And I love the song you sang the other time that teachers, parents, listen to your children. We are the leaders of tomorrow. And some people are making mockery of that song because they are saying that, okay, even those who have been leaders are still the leaders for many years. That's one of the problems you have in leadership. Who don't understand the concept of leadership. Leadership is not just about position alone. Leadership is not about occupying a position. It is making outstanding contribution. Where you are a leader. Where you are, you can influence. Where you are, you can take responsibility. Where you are, you can solve problems in your compound, in your neighborhood, in your school, in your office. You are leading there. So it is not until you become the president. And one thing that will interest us is that in the space of 60 years, how many presidents can we have? Everybody cannot become the president.
Sure.
Even minister, even governor, everybody cannot become governor. All right. Okay, maybe a president will serve twice, 8 years. If everybody is the turn of everybody, when is it going to be your turn? You understand what I'm trying to say now?
Sure.
So leadership is not about occupying a position. It is in making outstanding contributions. So this is what we want to bring out in people. This is the message we are preaching. That wherever you find yourself, you can lead. You can lead from where you are. Jephthah was a nobody. He was leading in the wilderness. David was in the cave of Adullam. He was leading. He was a magnetic leader. People were drawn to him in where that place he was hiding. He was not even the king at that time yet, and yet he was still leading. Nehemiah led without position. So you can lead wherever you find yourself. So this is the message we are preaching in TOLDNetwork. And we want everybody to be responsible, that the work of national development is not going to be the sole responsibility of those who are in government alone, but it is going to be the inclusiveness and the responsibility of everyone. When I understand my talent, I understand my responsibility, you understand yours, and everybody begins to do what he ought to do at his corner, then things will work out well. So that is what TOLDNetwork is all about. So we have a network, we have a WhatsApp platform, we have a website, www.toldnetwork.com, and you can also find us on Facebook at TOLDNetwork. You can find us on Instagram at TOLDNetwork, and even on X at TOLDNetwork. Thank you so much for this opportunity, Mr. Ike.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, sir. I will just take your final notes, the final advice that you will give to young ones who are learning now about personal leadership. What would be your final advice to those people that have joined us now live and those people that will listen to this production after now?
All right. In connection with what I have said, take your association seriously, your company. He said, what accompanies you will be determined by your company. Evil communication corrupt good manners. He that walks with the wise shall be wise, and the companion of fools shall be destroyed. So anybody that is in your space today, discern them. Is this person adding value to my life? Any gathering you enter, discern that gathering. Is this gathering meant for me? Even though if it is giving you pleasure, if it is not adding anything tangible to your life, anything significant in your life, run away. So mind your association, mind your company, mind your friends, because what you company with determines what accompanies you. And then draw close to God, associate with God. Our life is in the hands of the Lord Jesus Christ. Incline yourself to Him, acquaint yourself to Him. Let Him guide you. Do not lean on your own understanding. In all your ways, acknowledge Him, and He shall direct your path. So we are not here for ourselves, we are here for God who created us through Christ Jesus Christ. Through Christ Jesus. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Once again, our guest for today is Mr. Sijuade Adeyeye, the founder of TOLDNetwork. Mr. Sijo, thank you so much. I personally have been blessed. I believe people that will be watching this, whether from YouTube, from our YouTube page, from our Instagram, wherever, even whether on Spotify or on Apple Music, wherever you are listening to this from, this is personal leadership. And from Mr. Shijo's recommendation and even his last advice, he said that you should mind your company. Mind your company. He said, there's a way he puts it, your company, what accompanies you is dependent on your company. So let's try as much as possible. Let's learn from this and let's improve ourselves. I pray God will bless us in the name of Jesus. All right, so another edition of this production is going to come up on the next 2 weeks, right? Next 2 weeks, and it's going to be another time again with another guest. And of course, we are going to invite Mr. Sijuade Adeyeye, because even the last session, I was already feeling it in my heart that this is really going to be touching, right? And I really feel a need to be more serious and passionate about my leadership potentials, about my leadership possibilities, right? And I want to say thank you so much, Mr. Shijo, once again. Thank you so much for joining us. So once again, just like I said, I've said so many once again, right? Ensure you comment, ensure you ask questions. If you have questions, I will respond to it. And I will also, if it's specifically for Mr. Shijo, I will ensure that Mr. Shijo also will respond to your questions. And interestingly, there's going to be a raffle draw where the comments will be put in the system, and a random comment will be chosen, or a comment will be chosen as random, and you also stand a chance to be gifted. So you are receiving December or Christmas gift already. All right. I believe it's going to be a very wonderful session. Once again, I want to say thank you. Do well to follow this page. Do well to subscribe, and it's going to be a wonderful time. Thank you once again. My name is Olafisoye John E. Gay, and I'm the host of Life Clinic Podcast. God bless you in Jesus' name. Amen.
Meet Sijuade Adeyeye, a dedicated leader and educator deeply committed to youth development and leadership. Holding a master's degree in communication physics and currently working at the Center for Continuing Education, Federal University of Technology, Akure, Sijuade is the founder and CEO of the Organized Youths and Leadership Development Network, TOLDNetwork. Through TOLDNetwork, he passionately cultivates exceptional leaders, envisioning a global impact in leadership development. As the convener of TOLD Leadership Boot Camp, Governance and Leadership Summit, GLS, and Election Town Hall interactive meetings, Sijuade is a driving force for positive change. Married and blessed with a daughter, his unwavering dedication extends to empowering the upcoming generation of leaders, making him a beacon in the realm of personal leadership. Join Sijuade as he shares insights on navigating through personal leadership,